Ready, Leon?
Yeah.
So, Leon, you've pulled on the Works at Town shirt once again. How did it feel?
Yeah, great to be back. Obviously, throughout my career, always felt like home. Had the best years of my career here, obviously, goal scoring wise and enjoyment wise. So you know, any time I get invited back is a great time to come back.
How did it feel being, actually playing again and getting your boots back on?
Yeah, I mean, they always say keep going as long as you can. I'm getting to that point now where it gets a bit harder and harder, but I'll always pull them on. I'll always have a go and do my best. And it's not just the playing; it's the day, it's the meeting up with old faces, having a laugh and the crack that you do. And when you step away, that's what you miss. So you know, you're a long time retired, so keep going as long as you can.
Obviously, we've got the opportunity now to sort of reflect on your Works at Town career as a whole. Thinking back to when you first joined the club, just tell us about that meeting with Jason Clark and how he got you into the club.
It was more Freck. Obviously, I knew Freck, and we're talking a long time ago now, so trying to remember conversations and stuff. But you know, I'd just left Gainsborough in the Conference North, and you know, I was between things what to do, and obviously I spoke to Freck, who I'd been friends with and worked with, you know, and we came in and made it work. First year was tough. You know, I thought we should have probably finished better than we did in the first year, but obviously things happen in football, and we never grasped that opportunity. And then obviously Shoei came in, and I think the players that we signed at the time were levels above where we probably were in the standings, in the league standings. And I think that showed that season where I don't know whether records still stand, but we scored a lot of goals, let a lot of goals in, but it was enjoyable. You know, everyone loved it. Obviously, it worked out for myself, goal scoring wise. Just you know, 2 really enjoyable years.
Why do you think it clicked so much? Obviously, your goal record is one of the best in Works Hop history. You will be one of the best, finest forwards anyway to play for us. Why do you think it clicked as it did?
A lot of it was down to players I played with. I think you know, we had some really good players that have gone on to play at proper levels in the league and stuff. And we just worked hard for each other. You know, we all knew individually our jobs. We had a little bit of everything. We had a nasty side. We had a nasty streak to us, and a lot of the times I think when we went out that season, we knew we were going to win games, whether it be 5-4 or 6-5, whatever it might be. We just seemed to have a real edge with the team we had, and like I say, it was just enjoyable. And when you're enjoying it, there's a big thing in football. If you're enjoying it and you're working hard for each other, you get results. We were fit as well. People don't give us credit for how fit we were. You know, that was down to Schutz, a lot of it, and obviously he went on to have a brilliant career with Wayne and stuff. So we had people at the club that were going places but probably didn't know it at the time, and I think that helped.
Obviously, there was one figure really important to yourself. It was like little and large, wasn't it? You and Tom Denton. How was it forming that partnership, and how special was that bond?
Yeah, I mean, it was a little bit of a throwback combination, you know, Quinn and Phillips sort of thing. I would have never have scored the goals without him. Without a doubt, I wouldn't have even got half, I don't think. He was such a presence where, you know, he would occupy 2 centre-halves, and it sort of left me to be free. And obviously back then I could run as well, so that helped. And you know, we had hard-working wingers, Higo, Jack Muldoon, obviously still playing. And I just go back to it. We all know our jobs. We all know where we had to get the ball on the pitch, and we all knew where each other was going to be and where to put the ball to score the goals. You know, it always came naturally to me. If I had the chance, I always felt like I'd score. Obviously, you do miss chances, but that season, sort of everything I hit just went in. So.
Speaking of Higo, how was it to banter each other on the pitch on opposite teams today?
Yeah, I don't know why he was trying to come for me today. He's about 19 stone now, and you know, he's obviously, I don't know what he's done since he's left. I mean, he swallowed Greg's, but he's coming for me. He's watched me kick one out of play today and thought he'd have a go at me. So that's great. Listen, I love it. That's why I still involve myself in football. The camaraderie, the banter, it's brilliant. And obviously, if I give it out, I've got to be prepared to take it.
What are some of your favourite moments then from your time with the club?
There's so many. I mean, one that springs to mind straight away. It's not a positive. It's more of a disappointment. Was the playoffs. I thought we was more than capable of getting promoted that season, and it just didn't work out for whatever matter. But when you speak of highs, I had so many goals and things, and you know, games like away at FC when we drew 4-4 stick long in the memory, and just some of the football we played. I thought some of the football we played that year, we did take teams apart, and then obviously getting rewarded with being in the team of the year at the end of that year was a fantastic thing, as well as the golden boot and all the other accolades that came with it. So yeah, it seems like a lifetime ago now, but like you say, when you still pull the shirt back on and you still think you can still do what you used to be able to. In my head, I can still do it, just my legs don't allow it. So it's tough, but listen, there's much better players than me that it's happened to. You know, we've been playing with one today, Chris Waddle, 70 minutes or 75 minutes, whatever he played. At his age, what an achievement that is. So, you know, it happens, and you move on and you do different things in your career. And, you know, obviously I've tasted a little bit of management now with Wisbech, and I've been involved with Skeg Town for the last couple of years, and it's just a case of waiting for an opportunity to come back around where it suits all parties. And, you know, I'm always looking. I've got my coaching team ready to go for an opportunity, so it's just a case of waiting for one to come up.
We touched a lot on your first spell, but obviously you did return briefly in 2019. And when we thought it couldn't be any better, you produced that goal at Loughborough. What was it like to do that? It was a typical Mettam move of showing the defender one way and finishing it off. How was that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously looking back on it now, it was probably not the right time to come back. The club was in a difficult situation, and I wanted to come back to help the club, and it just didn't quite work out as I had in my head, which was a shame. But yeah, you talk about the goals, and you know, there's so many we could talk about. One that sticks in my memory from a few years ago is when I returned with Frickley, like we were speaking about earlier, and you know, I've always said playing here feels like home, and I always feel like I only need one chance, and it seems to go in for me here. So yeah, there's so many memories and good times, and like I say, it's always nice to come back.
Speaking of goals then, any of your favourites, any stick out in your mind? We've definitely got one that I'm sure everyone would agree with, so at Staley Bridge. But is there any more?
Yeah, I would have said the one at Staley Bridge, and was it the FA Cup?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was probably the one. But there was a few. I think there was the one against Ilkeston here. From about 25 yards, I chested it down and volleyed it in this end. I seem to remember that one, but there were so many. You know, it was a great season. I can't remember figures, but when you're trying to talk about what your favourite goals are, I think some of the best goals were the team moves we did. You know, where we'd have a little bit of intricate play and we'd get it out wide, and balls would be coming in the box from both sides. And I think that's where Dent's scored a lot of his goals. Obviously Muldoon chipped in. But yeah, it was just really, really good times.
As we come to a close in the interview, to see the club, you know, get into the playoffs like we did in 2014, and then make that step up this season to the National League North, how does, obviously being such a big figure in that history, to see us now progress to where we are, what's that like from an outside point of view?
Yeah, well, it's like the job that they've completed that we just failed to do back in 2013. Really good to see them do it and bounce back from what happened, moving, you know, when they dropped down the leagues and had to fight and scrap for everything that they got, to now be back in at step 2 in the National North. Incredible times for the club, but you look at that league now and it's like little old workshop. But I'm not saying they won't hold their own. I'm hoping and praying they do, and I think they will. But there's some proper football league clubs that, you know, in and about the conference and the Conference North now. And you know, if you're not bang at it from the off, it could become a long season. But I'm sure that the gaffer here has got his plans. You know, I've seen the sign with Luke Waterfall. Great signing, leader. I've played with Luke. Luke was at Gainsborough with us. He's gone on to have a great career in the league. And people like that are worth the weight in gold. Leaders, men, you need them. You know, you say that your legs start to go and stuff, but when you've got, you know, centre halves that are worth the weight in gold that you bring into the club, it only gives a positive.
And just finally, we have to end on this. Have you got any stories? What's your favourite story from maybe your time here, something from the dressing room that just sticks in your mind, maybe makes you laugh or even shed a tear? I don't know.
There's a few that I'm probably not allowed to say on camera. There were some real funny stories from my first season with Simon Clarke. He was a fantastic coach, but I just don't think he was cut out for some of the characters that maybe he brought to the club, and it was just one of them times where in training he would come out with random comments and he'd shout and sort of F and blind at things, and you'd just be thinking, this guy's on a different planet. So that sticks out for me for whatever reason. It didn't quite work out for him, but he was a funny guy in a sort of way. So there's so many stories, so many good times, and it's just great to be back.